dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Connor James. The time is about 6:31 on your Tuesday morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at your soon-to-be warmer forecast. Still a little bit of a cold one today, Paige.
Yeah, a little bit chillier today, but overall not too bad. At least we see sunshine returning, but some of us starting out a little bit foggy this morning, especially our areas down to the south and to the east along the Virginia and Kentucky border over into Wise, a little bit foggy. So you're down in that area, definitely take it slow early this morning. But as we look at our front porch, we're seeing those temperatures into the upper 30s. Not too bad here, but other spots are into those lower 30s, especially up to the north. And we're going to continue to see those temperatures drop a little bit and really not warm up too much as we head into the rest of your Tuesday. Good news is sunshine does return and stick around for quite some time. We also see a warming trend, not today, but as we head into the next couple of days. And of course, we see those rain chances return by the end of the week, really into the weekend. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a little bit. Connor.
All right, thanks, Paige. Well, when we cover stories about needle exchange programs, the social media reactions are typically very divided. Some see it as a way to clean up our communities and protect our children. Others see it as a way of enabling drug users. As WYMT's Justin Case learned yesterday, 5 eastern Kentucky counties are taking the controversial idea one step further.
In about 2 months, Eastern Kentucky will see a brand new method of fighting the opioid crisis and the spread of diseases. A state grant is funding this van, which will be used as a mobile needle exchange, but health officials say it will do so much more.
HIV testing, hepatitis C testing, we will administer hepatitis A vaccines, provide resource information. We will have a peer counselor on this van that will provide resources to those participants.
The van will be shared between 5 counties, Knox, Laurel, Whitley, Clay, and Jackson counties. Here in Laurel County, their needle exchange program just started a little more than 2 months ago.
It's a little slower than we had anticipated at this point, but we continue to do outreach within our community to let our folks know that we have this program available.
Besides letting people know the program exists, Mark Hensley says some of the things keeping drug users from coming to the program can be solved with a van.
I think some of the barriers could be reliable transportation or just the fear of the program itself.
The van, which will be called the Mobile Harm Reduction Unit, will spend 1 day in each county before moving to the next. Hensley says his team is now looking at the most effective places to set up and help users.
We might establish 4 different locations within the county. Maybe try to hit the 4 corners of those rural areas.
Taking the fight against drugs and disease to the front lines of the epidemic.
Again, that was Justin Case reporting. Mark Hensley says it will cost tens of thousands of dollars to treat someone with hepatitis or HIV. He says the preventative measures like this are just a fraction of the cost. And crisis operators in Broward County, Florida say they're answering more calls after a student and a former student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School both died by suicide last week. Last year, the school was the site of a deadly mass shooting that killed 17 people. At least one of the students who died by suicide last week was a known survivor of that deadly day in February of 2018. Officials who work at the 211 call center in Oakland Park said they've seen the number of calls go up in just the last 24 hours.
Just ask and just listen, because people who are committing suicide or thinking of it do sometimes, share and that they have a plan.
On Sunday, parents met with school officials and mental health specialists to come up with a strategy for students having trouble while they're on break. The community recently opened the Eagles Haven facility to give students, family members, and faculty a place to find support or wellness services at any time. And the Trump administration said the entire Affordable Care Act should be struck down. The Justice Department said it agreed with a Texas federal judge's ruling that invalidated the Obama-era health care law. The filing represents a major shift for the Justice Department. At that time, the administration argued that certain protections for people with pre-existing conditions could not be defended, but the rest of the law could stand. President Trump and the administration have repeatedly promised, particularly leading up to the midterm election, to protect people with less than perfect medical histories. And the Pentagon told Congress yesterday they've greenlighted the transfer of $1 billion to start a new barrier construction on the U.S.-Mexico border. The news prompted immediate outcry by Democratic lawmakers. Potentially a full $1 billion could go to building 57 miles of fencing, improving roads, and other measures on the border. It follows a fierce battle over the border barrier between President Trump and lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Democrats on the Senate Appropriations Committee sent a letter to Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan objecting the redirection of funding. And a new federal ban on bump stocks goes into effect today. Bump stocks are gun attachments that allow shooters to fire semi-automatic rifles continuously with only one pull of the trigger. In December, the Justice Department issued a ruling that declared an existing ban on fully automatic weapons would also apply to bump stocks. The ruling gave owners 90 days to turn their bump stocks in or destroy them. That 90-day period ends today. Civilians have been barred from owning fully automatic weapons since 1986, except for those that were already lawfully owned. And the attorney best known for representing porn star Stormy Daniels in lawsuits against President Trump was arrested yesterday. Michael Avenatti faces charges of extortation against Nike as well as bank and wire fraud. Meg Oliver has the latest.
Michael Avenatti appeared in a Manhattan federal court Monday, not representing a client, but facing multiple federal charges from U.S. attorneys in both California and New York. In California, Avenatti faces federal bank and wire fraud charges. U.S. attorneys say he embezzled $1.6 million of a client's settlement money to pay his own expenses and debt.
Mr. Avenatti then used his client's money to pay expenses for his own coffee business.
They say he also defrauded a Mississippi bank using phony tax returns to obtain millions of dollars in loans,
which we believe have been used to fuel an unrestrained and lavish lifestyle by Mr. Avenatti.
In New York, Avenatti faces federal extortion charges. U.S. attorneys say in meetings that took place just last week, Avenatti threatened Nike and demanded more than $20 million in payments. They say Avenatti claimed to have evidence of Nike employees funneling illegal payments to top high school basketball prospects and their families. Prosecutors have named celebrity attorney Mark Garagos as a co-conspirator.
A suit and tie doesn't mask the fact that at its core, this was an old-fashioned shakedown.
Avenatti represented adult film star Stormy Daniels in lawsuits against President Donald Trump. Avenatti could face up to 50 years in prison if convicted on wire and bank fraud charges. Meg Oliver, CBS News, Clifton, New Jersey.
Daniels issued a statement saying she's saddened but not shocked over Avenatti's arrest. She says she fired him a month ago after she discovered he'd been dishonest with her. And police in Phoenix, Arizona shut down a large-scale cockfighting ring. At least 27 people were detained. Police say more than 100 animals were on the property, including 60 roosters. At least one had to be put down because of its injuries. The Arizona Humane Society says this was one of the largest operations they have seen in a while.
This one looks like an operation that has been ongoing for a while, and like I said, very sophisticated and very intricate.
The owner of the property was arrested. It is unclear if any of the others who were detained were charged. And a new study indicates that rapidly slashing fossil fuel emissions could prevent millions of premature deaths caused by air pollution. Illness linked to air pollutions include heart disease and lung disorders. An international team of researchers estimates that more than 3.6 million people worldwide die every year due to outdoor pollution caused by fossil fuels. Those fuels include coal, oil, and natural gas. According to the EPA, fossil fuels cause roughly 78% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. The study was published Monday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. And a Wisconsin man was stabbed to death at an Illinois casino hotel. A 25-year-old Chicago man is charged in the death. Emmanuel Bergerino was stabbed as he left the room at Harrah's Casino Hotel in Joliet Sunday night. Officers found him in the hallway. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Robert Watson is charged with murder. He was taken into custody after police released surveillance video photos of the person of interest in the crime. Now let's check in with Paige Noel for another look at your soon-to-be warmer forecast.
Yeah, Connor, today's a little bit chilly, but overall it's not going to look like too bad of a week as long as we look at Interstate 64 right now into Moorhead. You're starting to see the sun start to rise just a little bit. And as we look at satellite and radar, you'll notice those clouds starting really to get out of here, allowing for plenty of sunshine by the time we get to the afternoon hours. Temperatures, though, a little bit chilly, especially up to the north and to the west into those lower 30s. We're seeing those upper 30s to lower 40s down to where those clouds are still kind of hanging around, but those will get out of here as we head into the rest of your Tuesday. And as we look at the planner, you'll notice it is a very chilly start, but we are seeing sunshine really throughout the day. Temperatures only to the low to mid 50s. And then as we head into tonight, we're going to see a clear night and another cool one as well. But like you said, Connor, we do have a warm up on the way. We'll have more on that in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Paige. We will have stories trending on WYMT.com next. Thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. And passengers on a British Airways flight from London City Airport to Dusseldorf in Germany were met with a surprise Monday morning. And a former Russian military officer attempted the coldest ever half-naked skydive in the country's northeast on Saturday.